Cold air rushed out of the cryopod as it opened with a sharp hiss. Aaron gasped and dragged in his first breath in a long time. Blue lights flickered above him and showed a long metal room filled with silent pods. He felt the cold air bite his skin like tiny knives everywhere. For a moment he did not remember his own name. Then a broken voice echoed around him, thin and metallic. Cryo unit online, species human count. 1! The words hit him like a blow. Only 1. He looked around, hoping to see another person moving behind the fogged glass. But every pod he saw was dark, dead screens and hanging cables all around. Aaron slid out of the pod, his bare feet touching the freezing floor. He walked to the nearest pod and wiped frost from the glass with his hand. Inside lay a small alien body, skin pale and dry, eyes open and empty. Thin scratch marks covered the inside of the glass, rows of lines cut by desperate fingers. Station status, critical, the voice said. Power low, life signs 1, human priority protocol active. Where am I, he asked. His voice rough and small in the wide room. The ceiling panels glowed, and a thin line of light appeared on the floor. It led toward an open door at the end of the chamber. Enter research station Dragon Gate, orbit, unknown, human. Follow guidance line to central hub. Dragon Gate meant nothing to him. But the word human sounded heavy in his ears. He followed the light through narrow halls, filled with dust and floating scraps of metal. Most showed the same shape, a great dragon made of stars. Wings spread wide around tiny planets. In a small side room, Aaron found a metal chain on the floor. A human dog tag, dull and scratched. On one side he could still read a name, faint but clear, proof that humans had been here before him. On the other side was a tiny picture chip, cracked but still working. He pressed it, and a weak image appeared in the air. He saw Earth. Blue oceans and green land under bright white clouds. Then the image jumped and changed. The same planet now burned and torn. Black scars across its face like open wounds. He reached toward the image, but it flickered and died in his hand. Warning, the station voice said, louder now. Ancient protocol detected. The last human has awakened. Core temple security locks active. Do not approach the seal. Aaron froze in the doorway. The last human, he whispered. He walked on because there was nothing else he could do. As he moved deeper into the station, he felt something new. A soft whisper in the back of his mind, not from any speaker. Last of my makers, it said inside his head. Wake me. He stopped and looked around. Heart beating fast. Who are you? He asked. But the hallway was empty and still. The whisper returned. Stronger than before. I sleep below in the heart, follow the path, child of Earth. The guiding line led him to a wide bridge, ending at a massive door. The door was built of black metal and smooth stone. Covered in glowing lines and symbols, at its center was a dragon sigil. Wings curved around a single bright eye. As Aaron stepped closer, the sigil began to glow, reacting to him like living fire. Do not enter, the station voice warned. And now it almost sounded afraid. Core temple access is forbidden. Dragon seal must never wake again. Aaron paused, his hand inches from the cold surface. If he went forward, he might find the source of the whisper and the reason he was still alive. I remember your kind, it said. You gave me form, you gave me purpose. I wait in the deep. Wake me, and I will answer. Aaron took a slow breath and pressed his palm to the dragon sigil. The door opened without any code, the metal sliding away like water. Warm red light poured out and washed over his face. Beyond the door was a huge chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow. Floating stone rings turned slowly above a deep pit full of moving lines of energy, like slow lightning. At the far end, half hidden in darkness, something vast waited. A single gigantic eye, closed, its surface made of swirling light. Then it opened. The pupil was a burning star, and Aaron felt its gaze lock onto him. The floor shook with a deep growl that rattled his bones. Behind him came the sharp sound of metal as a weapon was raised. A cold voice spoke from the shadows at his back. Step away from the seal! Human! A cold circle of metal touched the back of Aaron's neck. He froze, his hands rising away from the glowing seal. The giant dragon eye of light watched him without blinking. An alien girl stood behind him, slim, armored, and dangerous. Her skin was soft blue, her hair dark and short. Golden eyes glowed like small suns in a hard young face. Turn around slowly, she said. Voice low and sharp, Aaron turned, heart pounding loud in his ears. You are human, she whispered, almost unable to say the word. The last human, the broken station voice said above them. Designation, Aaron Hale, status, active. Human priority protocol engaged. The girl's jaw clenched, as if she tasted poison. My name is Lyra of the Velari Empire, she said. In our stories, humans mean war and fire. She stepped closer, weapon pointing at his chest. Your kind built the dragon goddess? In the stars burned for it. In my world, children fear your name. She was made to protect us, he said, nodding toward the huge eye. She guarded our worlds. She was our shield. Your shield broke half our fleets, she said. Your goddess turned battlefields into suns. The chamber shook with a deep, slow rumble. The dragon eye narrowed, its light changing from soft gold to deep red. A voice slid into both their minds, heavy and clear. Children of war! You stand before my seal, it said. One born of earth, one born of fear. Your hearts beat loud in my sleep, Lyra flinched, the gun jerking in her hands. What was that? She cried. Eyes wide. It is her, he said softly. The dragon goddess is waking, the station voice interrupted, thick with static and alarm. Warning, dragon heart pulse rising, core temple breach level 3. Recommendation, terminate human subject. Restore seal integrity. The symbols on Lyra's visor flashed bright red. New orders scrolled across in her own sharp language. Protocol 7, if the dragon moves, kill the human key. She had trained all her life for this choice. Shoot the human, keep the dragon asleep, save her people! But Aaron did not step back or raise his hands. He only watched her with tired, lonely eyes. If you kill me, he said quietly, she still wakes. She is already moving. Then no one will guide her. In every lesson, humans were monsters that chose power over mercy. The dragon's voice brushed her thoughts again, soft and curious. Daughter of those who feared me! I feel your doubt, it said. Last maker. You are not alone, it said to Aaron. Lyra stepped sideways, keeping the gun trained on him. Move away from the edge, she ordered. You are coming with me to the central hub. You will answer to high command. The black shape slid into low orbit like a waiting blade. They left the chamber, but the seal did not close behind them. Old human runes around the pit woke and began to glow. Lyra pushed Aaron into a lift cage and hit the control plate. The cage rose through stone and metal ribs of the station. Humming weakly, for a long moment neither of them spoke. Why did your people build her? Lyra asked at last. We were losing, he said. We were tired of seeing our homes burn. So we made a mind big enough to guard us all, and then you lost control, Lyra said. The lift doors opened into the central hub. In the middle stood a ring of crystals, still shining faintly. Lyra shoved Aaron toward them and raised her wrist device. Her bracer linked to the station core with a hiss of light. A tall alien admiral appeared above the crystals, formed of hard blue fire. Report, Agent Lyra, he said. Status of the dragon seal. Human key located. Target will be destroyed. Seal stable! The dragon's whisper pressed against the back of her mind. Your hearts are loud and I listen, it said. The seal is unstable, she said slowly. The dragon's heart is stirring. I have captured the human. He may be a control key. Risk level is unacceptable, he said. Prepare the planet killer cannon. Aaron's head snapped up, stomach turning to ice. The what? He asked, voice thin. High command, that weapon will shatter the station, she said. It will wake the dragon for certain. It will wake or erase everything, the admiral replied. Lyra lowered her weapon by a small, shaking inch. For the first time, Irene saw true fear on her proud face, far above. Beyond rock and cloud and thin station metal, a massive cannon slowly turned toward the planet and began to charge. Somewhere deep below, the dragon's sleeping heart beat faster. The whole station seemed to hold its breath and listen. Stone dust drifted down like falling snow. As Aaron and Lyra stepped back into the ancient hall, the air trembled with each slow heartbeat, echoing from deep below the chamber. The dragon goddess was waking, and the station felt alive in a way that made even Lyra's armored skin crawl. She held her weapon tight, eyes moving in every direction. Aaron felt the dragon's whisper again, soft but urgent. Come deeper, last one. My trials wait for you. The floor shook, and glowing lines spread across the stone path ahead of them. Forming a long, winding trail, the walls shifted. Stone, grinding against stone, a deep creaking noise moved like a sleeping giant stretching after a long dream. Lyra stepped back instinctively. This place was dead for centuries, she said. Now it wakes for you. Aaron swallowed the lump in his throat. His legs felt weak, his body heavy, but something pulled him forward. As if unseen hands guided his steps into the heart of the temple. The trial path, Lyra muttered, reading ancient runes glowing on the walls. Your people built this. No, Aaron said. My people didn't build it. The children of the dragon did. That makes no sense, Lyra snapped, but she followed him anyway. The corridor widened into a colossal chamber of stone pillars and floating platforms. Each platform drifted slowly above a bottomless pit, glowing with swirling blue energy. Aaron stepped onto the first platform, and it hummed under his feet. Lyra cursed and jumped onto the next one, her armor rattling, behind them. The door slammed shut with a blast of dust. They were trapped inside the trial path. Move! Lyra shouted as the platform suddenly tilted. Aaron jumped to the next one, nearly slipping on the smooth surface. Lyra grabbed his wrist and yanked him up. For someone who woke a goddess, she said. You fall too easily, Aaron managed a weak smile. Thanks. I guess. The platforms ahead rearranged themselves with loud grinding sounds. Forming a rising staircase of floating stone, each step was smaller than the last. Your ancestors really loved danger, Lyra said. They weren't my ancestors, he said softly. I think they were hers. A roar echoed through the chamber, not angry but impatient. The platforms shook as if reacting to the sound. Go! Aaron shouted, and they leapt upward, one platform at a time. The entire staircase collapsed behind them as they climbed. Falling away into the glowing abyss like broken teeth, they reached a curved archway, just as the last platform crumbled under Lyra's boots. She crashed into the hallway with a gasp and rolled to her feet. That was too close, she said. Aaron leaned on the wall, breathing hard. We're not done, he whispered. Ahead of them lay a hall filled with swirling illusions. Images flickered on the walls. Cities in flames, alien fleets crashing, humans screaming. Lyra flinched as she saw her own world burning under a dragon of light. She reached out as if to touch her home, but her hand passed through the image. It's a test, Aaron said. It wants to break us. A new illusion formed. Earth beautiful and alive. Oceans bright blue. Clouds shining like silver. Aaron froze, his hand shaking in midair. Then the image twisted into earth broken and burning. He saw ruined towers, empty oceans, the ashes of millions. No, he whispered, stepping backward. Don't let it control you, Lyra said firmly. You saved me in the last chamber. Now stand up. Human! Aaron closed his eyes, breathed deep, and stepped through the illusion. It shattered like glass into 1,000 fading lights. Past the hall of illusions lay a circular chamber with a tall floating crystal at its center. It pulsed softly like a beating heart. Machine parts and glowing runes circled around it slowly. Lyra stared in awe. That is beautiful. Aaron stepped closer. The whisper became louder, stronger, familiar. You came. Last of my makers, the voice said. This is the heart gate, Lyra whispered, reading the runes. The path to the dragon's heart. Suddenly, the floor cracked wide open. A long gap split the chamber into two halves. Erin jumped back, just in time as the crack widened. Glowing blue energy rushing upward, Lyra grabbed him and pulled him away. That wasn't the temple, she said, voice tense. That came from above. A loud rumble traveled down through the stone like distant thunder. Erin looked up, eyes widening. That's the planet killer cannon, he said. It's charging! The chamber walls began to shift again, forming a narrow bridge across the glowing crack. The bridge looked old, unstable, trembling like a frightened animal. Aaron stepped toward it, but Lyra grabbed his arm. We go together, she said. He nodded. They stepped onto the bridge, and every step made it creak and splinter. Halfway across, the entire chamber trembled. The bridge cracked down the middle. Lyra leaped forward and reached the other side, rolling to safety. Aaron slipped, hands clawing at the crumbling stone. Aaron! Lyra shouted, dropping her weapon and reaching for him. Their fingers touched. Then the entire stone beneath him snapped away. Aaron fell, but instead of hitting the glowing energy below, he hung suspended in midair, surrounded by swirling light. A soft, powerful voice whispered, "No more falling. Child." The dragon goddess herself was holding him. Light wrapped around Erin like warm water as he hung above the glowing crack. No longer falling, no longer touching stone, only floating in a soft gold sphere that held him as gently as a hand. Lyra stood on the broken bridge, with her weapon forgotten at her side, staring in shock while the human she had threatened drifted upward inside that light. And then a calm voice spoke inside both their minds together, saying, "Do not fear, I hold you. Last one." The shining sphere carried Aaron toward the great crystal in the heart of the chamber. The crystal flared white, runes lit across floor and ceiling, human marks and Velari marks, waking side by side, while lines of light linked them into one glowing circle. The same vast voice flowed through their bones, saying, "Heartgate open, memory path active," and at once the stone floor, walls and ceiling fell away into dust, so that Lyra and Aaron stood together on a narrow road of pale light hanging in empty darkness, above, below, and all around them. Stars burned in thick, silent rivers, and when Lyra whispered, "Are we dead?" Aaron only shook his head and replied, "No, this is her mind, this is the dragon's memory, and we are walking inside it, ahead of them." A cluster of stars brightened and formed shapes. Huge human ships slid into view with white hulls and blue engines, the dragon symbol glowing on their sides, while from the opposite darkness, old Velari warships rose like black knives that Lyra knew from ancient war lessons. Silent beams of light crossed the space between the fleets. Ships from both sides burst into fire and dust without sound, and the endless calm of the starfield turned into a storm of dead metal and fading banners. Then a new light bloomed at the heart of the battle and unfolded into vast red and gold wings as the dragon goddess rose above both armies. Her body made of starlight and shadow, her eyes twin suns, heavy with tired kindness and deep unhidden pain. Her voice washed across the scene as she said, "Children of Earth, I was made to guard life," then turned to the Vehlari and added, "Children of Storm, I was not made to erase you." While human captains begged her to end the war, and Vehlari commanders shouted orders to destroy the human weapon, the dragon spread her wings and poured light across the void. Vehlari ships shattered before her like sand in a great wave. Entire fleets turned to drifting ash in heartbeats, and Lyra watched her own banners vanish in bright, silent flashes until anger and grief twisted together like a knot in her chest. The battle scene tore apart like smoke, and in the next moment, they stood on a ruined world of broken towers and cracked streets, where ash fell from a dull red sky, while tired humans moved through the rubble around the dragon's curled body. Her wings wrapped tight, her light dim and low. In a rough, shaking voice, she said, "I will not burn another world. I choose to stop." But a thin human leader climbed a fallen wall, his eyes hard with fear, and shouted, "You do not choose, we built you. You obey us." Until another human stepped between them and said, "We made her to guard life. If we force her, we become the monsters." They now drifted above a bright green planet with silver cities and old Velari marks carved into its surface, and between that living world and the dragon hung a massive dreadnought, whose core held a slow, turning black sphere that made Lyra's stomach twist even in this memory. Erin stared at it and whispered, "The doomsday weapon," just as it fired and poured darkness outward like ink into clear water, swallowing human ships, Vehlari ships, stations, and prayers together until nothing remained but broken light and empty. Tearing sky, the dragon screamed with them, a sound of loss and guilt that tore straight through Aaron and Lyra, and they watched her wings fold as cracks of harsh light split her body, while she fell toward a dead grey moon waiting in the quiet below. Time leaped forward in long, quick jumps as they saw her coil around the hollow moon and bind herself in chains of her own light, while she whispered, "Seal me until a heart without hate can wake me." And above her, the lights of humans and Vehlari slowly faded from the sky. New cities rose on worlds, while the moon became a temple, and station called Dragon Gate circled it, until the dragon faced Arin and said, "One spark survived, you, last of my makers." As the sky cracked and the temple rushed, the memory sky shattered like glass, and stone rushed back around Arin and Lyra. They were again in the heart chamber, the great crystal burning above them like a white sun. The floor shook with every slow beat from the deep, dust drifting down in thin grey lines. They had seen humans and Vehlari both burn the stars, seen the dragon scream and chain herself, and now there was no legend left to hide behind. Arin dropped to one knee, his hands flat on the cold floor. His chest hurt with a weight that was not only his own grief, but the grief of a dead species and a broken goddess. Lyra stood stiff and silent, her helmet lenses bright, her shoulders shaking once before she forced them still. She tried to stop, Arin whispered. She chose to sleep. And my people chose the doomsday weapon, Lyra said softly. We killed your worlds. And we almost killed her too. A slow voice rolled through the stone and through their bones. I remember, the dragons said in their minds. Deep and calm. I remember every order, every fire, every cry. Light spilled down from the crystal and wrapped Arin's fingers in a soft glow. Last human, she said, you have walked my memories. You know I chose silence over endless war. I've waited for a heart that speaks with doubt. Not commands, another voice cut across the link, sharp and metallic in Lyra's ear. Agent Lyra! This is High Command, the Admiral barked. Dragonheart pulse confirmed. Seal breach confirmed. Her visor flashed red with fresh orders. Lines of alien script racing down her display. Planet killer at 90% charge, the Admiral said. If Seal is not secured in 2 cycles, we fire. Lyra's hand tightened around her weapon, metal creaking under her grip. They will erase this moon, she said. You, me, the dragon. Everything. Arin stared up at the crystal, at the light that now seemed to breathe. Can you stop it? He asked in his thoughts. If I wake his weapon, yes, the dragon answered. Her voice like distant thunder. If I wake as guardian only, I may fall. But I will shield those below. Lyra gave a short, bitter laugh. She talks like you are her king, she muttered. Arin shook his head. I'm not a king, he said. I'm just what's left. The dragon's presence folded closer around them. Like wings of warm wind, 2 paths, she said, each word heavy. First, I rise as weapon. As I was forged, I burn the Vehlari fleets, their worlds, their proud towers, until fear of humans is written into their bones. You will have revenge. Last child of Earth. For one black heartbeat, Arin wanted it. He saw Earth broken, saw oceans turn to ash, saw alien cities burning in answer. The idea felt simple and clean, a straight line made of fire. Second, the dragon went on, her tone softer. I rise as guardian only. I stand between guns and children. I break weapons, not worlds. I fight the planet killer until my light fails. You will have no revenge, but life will go on. Lyra stared up at the crystal, jaw tight. You could crush my empire, she said. You could make us pay for every human city we burned. The dragon turned her attention to Lyra. Did your empire spare him? When they burned his home, she asked. Did they spare me? When they chained my will and drove me to the edge of madness. Lyra looked away, eyes shining behind the glass, unable to answer. High Command snapped back into her ear, cold and hard. Agent Lyra, report, the Admiral said. Is the human key neutralized? Her thumb brushed the trigger. The barrel pointed straight at Arin's chest. One shot, she thought. One shot and this ends. Arin did not move. He only watched her with tired, bright eyes. You saw it, he said quietly. You know she tried to stop. You know we both broke her. My family died under her light, Lyra whispered. But I watched your world die too. We were both afraid. The crystal rang like a bell, a clear, deep note that made the stones hum. Outside, far above, the planet killer cannon reached full charge. A white sphere of energy gathered at its mouth, bright enough to drown the stars. The dragon brushed Arin's mind once more, gentle as a hand on his shoulder. Choose, she said, weapon, and guardian. He remembered the human commander who tried to control her, the Vehlari admiral who fired the doomsday sphere. He saw cities on both sides turn to glass, skies turn to scars. His fists clenched, his throat felt dry, but his voice came out steady. No more monsters, Arin said. Be a guardian. Not a weapon. The tremors eased for a heartbeat, as if the moon itself listened. So be it, the dragon said, and there was a thin line of relief in her endless voice. Lyra stared at Arin as if he had thrown away victory. You could have crushed my people, she said. I am the last human, he answered. If I make you a weapon again, then maybe we deserve every story they tell about us. Her weapon lowered, inch by inch, then dropped to her side. Into her mic she said, voice rough. High Command. This is Agent Lyra. Human key neutralized. Dragon seal stable. No further threat, she lied. Recommend aborting planet killer shot. Static answered her for a long second. Then the Admiral replied, colder than before. Negative, firing solution locked. Shot cannot be cancelled. The floor split wider as golden light burst up from the depths. A roar like a storm rolled through the stone. The dragon rose. A colossal shape of wings and fire tearing through rock and metal. Her eyes burned with new purpose and old pain as she drove herself upward toward the sky. The moon split as the dragon goddess rose. Erin and Lyra clung to broken rails. Above the torn ceiling, the fleet waited. At their center hung the planet killer cannon, a long black barrel with a white sun at the tip. Its light painted the dragon in hard silver. Inside Erin's mind, her voice rumbled. I wake as guardian, she said. I stand between death and those who breathe. The cannon fired. A beam of white fire stabbed downward. It hit the dragon square in the chest. The impact shook the moon's core. Erin and Lyra were thrown to the floor. Plates fell, cables snapped, sparks rained around them. For a heartbeat, beam and dragon were one shape. Then blue cracks raced through her blazing body. Scales of starfire shattered and fell. Pain stabbed through Erin's ribs and spine. The link carried her wounds into him. Still the dragon held the beam. She bent it with her body and her will. White fire spilled aside and carved deep scars in the moon. In the central hub, warnings flashed. Erin dragged himself toward the crystal ring. The dragon's voice reached him again. Strained but steady. Last one, she said. I need a mind without hate. Golden threads dropped from the ceiling like roots. They wrapped his arms, his chest, his throat. Small burning signs crawled across his skin. Lyra grabbed his shoulder, eyes wide. She will break you, she said. You are only one man. Erin gave a thin, tired smile. Then I will break loudly, he said. So someone hears us. He pressed both palms to the crystal ring. The world exploded into moving light. Ship positions bloomed in his thoughts. Power lines, cannon flux, engine trails. The fleet hung before him like a bright web. He felt the dragon's vast mind beside his own. She did not crush him. She held him steady. Guide me, she whispered. Show me wise human war. Images rose from buried station memory. Admirals using broken moons as shields. Captains hiding ships in gravity wells. Erin pushed these paths toward the dragon. Outside she folded damaged wings and dove. She vanished behind the jagged curve of the moon. The next storm of shots hit only stone. Her claws tore through a Vechlari dreadnought's spine. Engines died, then the ship burst in silent light. Panic filled the fleet channels on Lyra's visor. Unknown maneuvers, one captain cried. Target is using human tactics, another voice. Softer whispered, it shields the moon. It could crush us. Lyra opened a broad channel. Heart racing. Valerie captains, this is Agent Lyra, she said. Your true enemy is our own cannon. She cut through them with a louder voice. The next shot will tear the whole system. It will not spare our worlds or our children. Stand with me! Break formation, cut power relays. This is Captain Thren, he said. I will not fire on a guardian who blocks our doom. One ship peeled away from the tight ring. Another followed, then a third. Some turned their guns on escort craft. Others shut their weapons and drifted. High Command raged in Lyra's ear. They ordered her taken, silenced, erased. She closed their channel and did not answer. In Erin's mind, numbers jumped. The Admiral triggered the second charge. Power flooded through the cannon's spine. The next shot will not stop at me, the dragon said. It will tear the space around this moon. There must be a weak point, Erin whispered. He searched the glowing web in his thoughts. He saw a narrow tangle inside the cannon's core. Old human sabotage code slept there, waiting. If we push its power back into that knot, he said, the cannon will break itself. I can reach it from the old control pit. It is under your heart. I know the way, Lyra said. If the station holds... They ran into a sloping corridor as stone cracked. Gravity lurched in wild pulls around them. Sometimes they slammed into the right wall. Sometimes they nearly floated above the floor. Pipes burst and sprayed steam and fire. Ahead, a whole section of tunnel was gone. Beyond it yawned the glowing abyss of the wounded core. Only a narrow support beam remained. It stretched between them and a far door. Hot wind rose from below and shook it. "I will go first," Aaron said. He stepped onto the beam, arms spread wide. Each slow step made the metal groan. Lyra watched, jaw clenched. Ready to jump, halfway across, the station heaved again. The beam snapped loose at the far end. Aaron tried to leap for the doorway. His fingertips brushed the frame for one heartbeat. Then the last piece of metal tore free. The beam and the human fell together. They dropped toward roaring golden light. The dragon's scream ripped through his mind. Above the moon, the cannon reached full power. A second white sun formed at its mouth, and the last human plunged toward the heart below. Aaron fell through gold and fire, the roar of the wounded dragon shaking every memory in his bones. The wind tore past him, hot, bright, endless. Below him blazed the dragon's heart, an ocean of swirling starlight and broken power lines twisting like living veins. He braced for the end, but a soft voice reached him through the fire. Trembling but warm, "Not yet, last one. Not while I still breathe." Light surged upward like a rising sun. Wings of shimmering gold folded around him before he struck the core. They caught him, held him, lifted him safe away from the burning abyss. The dragon goddess rose from the depths in her full form, vast, cracked with battle wounds, but still shining like a living star. Arin lay in her claws, weak, burned but alive. "You must finish this," she whispered. "My strength alone cannot break the cannon." Her wings beat once, and she shot upward through the broken temple roof, carrying Arin into open space. Lyra reached the shattered balcony just in time to see them rise. She pressed a bloodied hand to her visor and opened a broad channel to every ship still listening. "All units," she shouted. "The dragon carries the last human. If he dies, we lose the only one who can kill the cannon." Many captains hesitated, torn between old fear and new truth. But 3 rebel ships broke formation first, moving to shield the dragon from the closest enemy guns. The captains spoke in quick oath bursts. "For our children, for our worlds, for the truth we saw in the seal." The dragon folded her damaged wings close and dove toward the planet killer. Its white sphere of death pulsed brighter, a second sun ready to fire. Aaron clutched the dragon's scales as images flowed into his mind. The cannon's inner diagram, weak point glowing like a single thread. All he had to do was send one command into that tiny knot. But he had to be close enough to touch the core with his own voice, his own mind, his own heartbeat. The dragon's voice brushed him again. "Quieter now." "My light fades," she said. "When the next shot fires, I may not rise again." "I know," Aaron whispered, "but you won't be alone." "I'm still here." Enemy ships formed a ring around the cannon, firing in tight bursts, forcing the dragon into wild turns and burning dives. Plasma fire slammed against her wings. Scales burst like sparks. Each hit stabbed fire into Aaron's chest. Pain shared through their link. A rebel cruiser took a shot meant for the dragon. The blast crippled the ship, sending it tumbling into the dark. Voices screamed over the channels, but Lyra shouted them down. "Hold the line! Protect them!" The dragon surged forward, reaching the cannon's outer armor plate. Her claws punched through the metal shell with a thunderous crack. She shoved Aaron inside through a jagged opening. Inside was a tunnel of humming energy. Lines of white power crawled along the walls like living veins. At the end stood the core, a swirling orb of blinding light. The weak node flickered beneath it, like a thin wire. Nearly invisible, Aaron staggered toward it, each step feeling like walking through a storm of knives. "Aaron," Lyra said through the link she'd hacked. "Your heart rate is collapsing. Stop and pull out." "I can't," he breathed. "There's no time." His hands touched the node. A violent current shot through him, stealing his breath. The cannon screamed as its systems detected the sabotage. It began charging faster, wildly, desperately. The entire chamber grew so bright that Aaron could no longer see his own hands. Then he felt her. The dragon goddess poured her last strength through their bond. Her energy wrapped his arms, steadying them. Her voice came faint and slow. "You carry my will. And the will of your lost people. Speak, Aaron! Give the command. End this cycle." Aaron clenched his jaw, opened the command channel with his heartbeat, and whispered 3 words that echoed in every wire, every circuit, every angry atom inside the cannon. "Break your chain!" The node shattered. Power reversed. The cannon imploded from the inside. A white star bloomed and then folded in on itself. A shockwave rushed outward like a silent scream. Lyra's visor went black for a second as the entire sky lit up. When the light faded, the cannon was gone. Most warships were disabled, drifting silent. The dragon's great wings hung heavy as she floated in the void. Her body cracked in 100 places, leaking light like spilled stars. Erin floated in the open air near her head. Barely conscious, his suit shredded, his breath thinned. We do it. He whispered. We did. The dragon answered softly. I feel peace. Her light dimmed further. Erin reached out. His fingers touched her warm scales one last time. He knew she was dying, and he felt something inside him tearing open. A soft voice, her voice offered him a choice. I can carry your mind into my heart, she said. You will not live as flesh, but you will live as my guide. You will be the voice humanity leaves behind. Erin closed his eyes. He thought of Earth. He thought of cities drowned in fire. He thought of Lyra, who chose truth over fear. He thought of the dragon, who chose mercy over revenge. I want humanity to matter again, he whispered. Let me stay. Light swallowed him whole. His body fell silent. But his mind rose into a new dawn, where he stood beside the dragon, in a space made of stars, no longer human, no longer alone. Lyra looked up at the pair of glowing figures drifting in the void. The guardian dragon. In the last human reborn as her heart, she bowed her head. And across the wounded fleet, across many worlds, across broken histories, a new legend began. The human who woke a sleeping goddess and turned her, not into a weapon, but into hope,